The war came without warning. One minute, the skies above planet Zevon 3 were quiet. The next, fire rained from orbit. Starships roared overhead. Buildings crumbled like paper. The Varnex Republic tried to fight back, but they weren't ready. Neither was she. Her name was Vera Nye, a Varnex scout. Young, elite, proud. She wore polished armor and carried twin plasma blades. She was trained to fight, not run. But that day she lost everything. Her unit was wiped out in the second wave. An explosion tore through their outpost. She remembered falling, her arms burning, her legs crushed under steel and fire. When she woke, she was surrounded by silence. No squad, no command, and no limbs. Far away, on the outer edge of the war zone, a human mechanic named Eli Ward picked through the ruins of a scrapyard. He wasn't a soldier, not anymore. He fixed broken droids, repaired engines, and sold scrap for credits. That was his quiet life, until he found her. At first, he thought she was a destroyed warbot. Her body was mangled, half metal, half flesh. Her skin, orange gold with faint lines of silver. Her eyes shut. Then she opened them, weak, in pain, still alive. Barely. She didn't speak his language. He didn't know hers. But the message was clear. Help me, or let me die. Eli stood frozen for a moment. He had no reason to get involved. She wasn't human. She was part of the same race that had once fired on his people. He could walk away. No one would know. But something in her eyes made him stay. He lifted her gently, what was left of her, and carried her to his small workshop hidden behind the ruins. He didn't know her name, didn't know her story, but he knew what broken looked like. And this girl wasn't just broken. She had been left behind. That night, while bombs still fell in the distance, Eli cleaned her wounds. He hooked her body to his repair table. His hands worked like they had when he was a soldier medic. Steady, careful, fast. He used leftover parts from damaged androids to replace her arms. He reconnected power cores to her spine. He reprogrammed old servos to support her weight. And all, the while she never cried out, not once. Her eyes followed his movements, full of questions, full of quiet rage, and something else. Hope. The next morning, she could sit up. She still couldn't speak, but she touched her chest and then looked at him. Her way of saying thank you. He nodded. You're welcome, cyborg girl. But he had no idea what was coming next. Eli had seen damaged machines before. He'd rebuilt broken droids, salvaged scrap ships, and even patched up wounded smugglers who couldn't afford real doctors. But this alien girl, she was different. She didn't speak his language, but she watched everything. His hands, his tools, his face. Her body was mostly metal now. Her legs were gone, replaced with reinforced cybernetic limbs from old security bots. One of her arms sparked now and then when she moved. But her mind was sharp. She wasn't some machine. She was alive. On the third day, Eli walked into the shop with breakfast, basic rations and warm water. She was sitting up again, her posture straight, eyes alert. You're healing fast, he said. She didn't answer, of course. He placed the food in front of her. She stared at it for a moment, then looked at him. Then she slowly pointed to herself. Vera, she said quietly. Eli blinked. Your name? He asked, pointing at her. She nodded once. Vera. Then she pointed to him. Eli, he said. Her lips moved slowly. Lee. He smiled. Close enough. From that day, something changed. They couldn't say much to each other, but they started to understand. He showed her how the mechanical arm worked. She used her fingers carefully, testing grip strength, adjusting the balance. He gave her access to his old data pads, and she began writing basic words in his language. Food. Pain. Help. Thank you. Simple, but clear. Vera was learning. Fast. One evening, Eli worked late at the bench, trying to rewire a stabilizer for her leg. Vera sat quietly nearby, watching the fire flicker in the old steel barrel they used for warmth. She finally broke the silence. "Why, help me." Eli stopped. It was the first full sentence she had spoken in English. He set the tool down and looked at her, because no one else did. Vera was quiet for a moment, then nodded, slowly. "You are not like others," Eli chuckled. "You're not the first one to say that." Then Vera reached toward her waist and opened a hidden panel. Inside was a small broken symbol, half melted. She handed it to him. "What's this?" Vera stared at it. "My unit tag. I was Scout. Elite." "You were military?" She nodded. "They left me." Eli held the broken tag in his hand, feeling its weight. "You're not alone anymore," he said. Vera looked at him. Her eyes, once cold, were now warm, curious. But outside the shop, in the dead streets beyond the scrapyard, something moved. A drone flew past silently, its red sensor blinking. It had seen heat signatures. 2 of them, one human, one Varnex. And someone, somewhere, was watching. Eli placed the broken unit tag on his workbench. He stared at it for a long moment. He had seen tags like that before, on alien prisoners during the war, on Varnex scouts captured by human forces. But Vera's tag was different. It wasn't just burned. It had been cut in half. Deliberately. Vera stood beside him, her cybernetic fingers tapping gently on the metal table. "You were more than a scout," Eli said quietly. Vera looked away. He watched her carefully. "They didn't just leave you behind, did they?" She finally spoke. Her voice was slow, broken, but clear enough. "I refused order." Eli's brow furrowed. "What kind of order?" She looked him in the eye. "Civilian purge, human colony. They said, 'Destroy all.'" Eli's blood went cold. "And you refused?" Vera nodded. "I said no. They said I was traitor. Weak. Shame to the unit." She paused. "Next day, boom." Eli's fists clenched. The explosion that crushed her wasn't random. "Your own people set you up," he said. Vera didn't reply. She didn't have to. The pain in her eyes was answer enough. Outside the shop, the wind howled through the metal ruins. Inside, the silence between them spoke louder than any words. Eli finally sat down. "So, you saved people who couldn't fight back," he said, "and they punished you for it." Vera nodded again. "You did the right thing," Eli said. She looked up, eyes soft. "That why you saved me?" "I guess so." Suddenly, a sharp beep echoed through the room. Eli turned toward the motion sensor he'd installed at the gate. "Movement?" He stood and checked the monitor. One red blip. No ID signal. Someone was out there. Eli grabbed his tool blaster and turned to Vera. "Time to hide," but Vera shook her head. "No. I fight." "You're still recovering," he argued. She stood slowly, her robotic legs whirring softly. Her posture was steady. "I was soldier," she said. "Still am." They moved to the shadows near the back of the shop. The gate creaked. Boots stepped through the broken mud path. A tall figure in black armor appeared. Not human, not fully Varnex either. A bounty hunter, one of those that worked for anyone who paid enough. He scanned the shop, holding a plasma rifle. "I know you're in here," he called. "One human, one broken Varnex." "That's the report," Eli whispered. "They're hunting you," Vera whispered back. "Us." The bounty hunter stepped forward, just as Vera moved. She launched forward, fast and silent. The man fired once, missed. Eli followed, firing his tool blaster at the wall to blind the target with sparks. Vera spun behind the enemy, leaped onto his back, and tore the rifle from his hand with her metal arm, one hard punch to his helmet, and he dropped, hard. They stood over him, breathing heavy. Eli looked at Vera. "You're not weak," he said. "You're not broken." Vera looked at the fallen enemy, then back at Eli. "You fix my body," she said softly. But you fixed something else too. But this was just the first hunter. Now they both knew. More were coming. And next time, they wouldn't come alone. The bounty hunter lay unconscious on the cold floor. Vera stood over him, breathing hard. Her new limbs hissed softly with each movement. Eli tied the hunter's wrists with a length of salvaged power cable. "This won't hold him long," Eli said. Vera didn't answer. Her eyes scanned the door, alert. She already knew what Eli was just beginning to understand. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Later that evening, the skies above the scrapyard glowed with the flickering lights of distant air patrols. Someone was sweeping the ruins, searching. Eli paced his shop, nervously glancing at his old gear. He hadn't left this place in almost 3 years. He stayed off the grid. No registration, no signal. It was supposed to be safe. But that was before her. Before Vera. She sat at the workbench, adjusting the clamps on her cybernetic arm. She was calm, focused, quiet. He finally spoke. "You said your people betrayed you. But why are these bounty hunters after you now?" Vera paused, then looked at him. "They fear what I know, what I saw." "What did you see?" Vera hesitated, then whispered, "A secret facility, human prisoners, tests." Eli's eyes widened. "Your side was experimenting on humans?" Vera nodded. "Forbidden science. I reported it. They erased the report. Then they tried to erase me." Eli ran a hand down his face. "You've got to be kidding me." He looked at her. "You're not just a survivor. You're evidence." She nodded. "And you helped the wrong girl." Outside, another drone passed. Vera stood. "We must go," she said. "Now." Eli looked around at the place he called home. The tools, the broken droids, the walls filled with memories. All of it would have to be left behind. "You sure?" he asked. She looked him in the eyes. "If you stay, you die." Eli grabbed his old gear bag. "Guess I'm leaving." As they stepped into the night, Vera led the way through the back alleys of the scrapyard. Her robotic legs moved smoothly now. She had adapted quickly. They moved in silence under the cover of metal ruins and thick shadows. But deep down, Eli knew one thing. This wasn't just about running anymore. It was about choosing a side. They found shelter in an old transport bay outside the city ruins. Eli patched the door controls with an old battery, and Vera scanned the perimeter with her enhanced eyes. Inside, the place was dusty but safe, for now. They sat on the floor, eating quiet rations in the dim light of a portable lamp. After a while, Eli spoke. "You know, you've got every reason to run alone. Why are you still with me?" Vera looked up. Her voice was soft. "Because you didn't see me as machine or enemy. You saw me." She paused. "I stay because you're the first one who made me feel alive again." Eli swallowed hard. "I don't know what's coming," he said. "But if I have to fight, I'd rather not do it alone." She gave a small smile. "Then we fight together." But above them, in the upper atmosphere, a black ship activated its descent thrusters. The hunters had found their trail, and next time, they wouldn't miss. The night sky over the transport bay flashed with silent lightning. A storm was coming. One of Zeven 3's deadly plasma storms. Wind strong enough to tear small ships from the sky. Rain that melted metal. No one traveled during a plasma storm. No one except those with no choice. Eli looked at Vera as she adjusted her cloak over her new cybernetic limbs. "They're coming," he said, staring at the blinking alert on his scanner. 3 ships, not drones, full hunters. Vera didn't flinch. "Then we move, now." They slipped into the storm before sunrise. The wind howled through the broken structures. Dust and red sparks swirled through the air. It stung Eli's face, burned his skin. Vera seemed to feel nothing. Her enhanced legs powered through the sand, like she was born to it. Eli struggled to keep up. They moved toward the old canyon line, once a shipping route, now a graveyard of wrecked cargo haulers. Down there, Vera said. We hide in metal. Eli nodded and followed. They reached a broken freighter half buried in the canyon wall. Its hull was rusted, twisted, but the inside was dry and shielded. Inside, they caught their breath. Eli wiped blood from a cut on his forehead. Vera bent down and checked his wound without asking. You bleed a lot, she said softly. You hit hard, he joked. She smiled, just a little. But before they could rest, Vera's eyes snapped toward the ceiling. Boots. Dozens of them. They were surrounded. From above, a hunter's voice echoed through a megaphone. Far next effect. Human collaborator. Come out now, or we reduce the canyon to dust. Eli cursed under his breath. They're not bluffing. This whole place could come down. Vera looked at him calmly. I go out, you escape. No, you helped me. I repay. That's not how this works, Eli said. Not with me. He grabbed 2 canisters from his bag and tossed one to her. Smoke bombs, he said. Not pretty, but they'll give us a few seconds. Vera caught hers and nodded. Together, they waited. 1 heartbeat. 2. Then, they ran. Eli tossed the canister into the open. A blast of smoke covered the canyon floor. Lasers fired blindly as Vera and Eli sprinted through the opposite exit, leaping, over fallen beams and crashed metal. A plasma shot hit nearby, sending shards flying. 1 shard cut deep into Vera's side, but she didn't slow down. They reached the cliff edge. A small drop. Eli looked over. Jump? Jump, Vera said. They jumped. They landed hard in the mud below, rolling through the thick brush. Above them, hunters shouted in every direction, but they were gone, hidden by the storm, the rocks, and the night. Hours later, they found shelter in a collapsed tunnel, once part of an underground mag rail system. Eli lit a dim light and sat down, exhausted. Vera leaned back, her side bleeding, circuits exposed. You're hurt, he said. Small pain, she replied. I'll patch it. As he worked on her wound, she finally spoke again. You had chance, you could have left me. I know. Why didn't you? Eli looked into her eyes. Because someone once saved me. I never got to thank them. Maybe helping you is how I do that now. Vera looked down. I was machine. Weapon. Now, I feel like something more. You are, Eli said. And they're scared of that. Above them, the storm howled. But for now, they were still alive. The storm outside was still raging, but inside the old tunnel, all was quiet. Eli sat beside Vera, finishing the patch on her side. The bleeding had stopped, but the pain was still there, in her body and in her heart. She hadn't spoken much since the escape. He handed her a water pouch. You did good back there. She took it slowly. You too. Then silence again. Not uncomfortable, just heavy. Like something needed to be said. Finally, Vera broke it. Do you want to know what I was before the war? Eli looked at her, surprised. You mean before you were a soldier? She nodded. Yes. He leaned back. Tell me. Vera took a slow breath. I was trained for war since birth. My world raised us like machines. No family, no soft things, only goals, targets, missions. She looked at her robotic hand, flexing the fingers. But I always felt something missing. I wanted more. Music, art, emotion. They said it was weakness. She paused. Then one day on a recon mission, I found a human child, lost, scared, crying. I could not kill. You saved her? Eli asked. I hid her, lied to my commander. That was the first time they questioned me, but they didn't punish me. She looked down. Not until I refused a second time. That's when they ended me. Eli stared at her. You never were a machine. They just tried to make you one. Vera gave a tiny nod. You make me remember who I wanted to be. Eli leaned forward. Then let's build that version of you. One they can't break. She looked at him, a new light in her eyes. Why help me so much? I am trouble. Eli smiled. You're not trouble. You're the reason I feel human, again. They sat in silence for a while, the wind above howling like ghosts. Then Vera said something that caught him off guard. You should leave me. Go far. You still have life. No, he said quickly. Where you go, I go. But they'll kill you. Eli stood up and pointed to her chest plate over her heart. They already tried to kill you, and I rebuilt you. You think I'd run, now? She looked at him deeply moved. No one's ever said that to me. Well, someone should have. That night, Vera showed him something she'd hidden all along, a small data shard embedded in her back plate. What's this? Eli asked. Proof of the experiments, of the orders, of the leaders who lied. He took it carefully. If you share this, the war could change, she said, or start again. But it's the truth. Eli stared at it. If we run with this, we'll be hunted forever. Vera nodded. But if we stay, they win. He looked at her. Then we run. Together. She smiled gently. Together. As the storm began to fade, the path ahead became clear. They had a mission now, one far greater than survival. They were going to expose the truth, even if it meant risking everything. The storm finally passed. The sky over Zevon 3 turned dark and quiet. But deep beneath the ruined surface, in a forgotten satellite tower, two figures worked quickly. Eli adjusted the power cables while Vera uploaded the data shard into the old system core. The tower was broken, rusted, long abandoned, but still strong enough to send one last message into the stars. This is the only working antenna in this zone, Eli said. Once we broadcast this, it'll reach every outpost, every pirate channel, every neutral base. Vera looked up from the terminal. And every hunter. Eli smirked. Yeah, there's that too. Vera hesitated before pressing the final command. This data, it will expose my leaders. Your allies may not believe it. They'll believe you, Eli said, because the truth always finds someone who will listen. Vera slowly nodded. Then she pressed send. Outside, the antenna buzzed to life. Lights flickered across the rusted tower. Far above, satellites blinked, picking up the transmission. The message spread like wildfire across dozens of systems. The footage of experiments on human prisoners, orders to kill unarmed civilians, official signatures of high-ranking Varnex warlords. It was all there, and it couldn't be erased. Moments later, alarms screamed through the tower. They were tracked. A dropship was descending fast, armed, loud, and close. Vera looked at Eli. Run, Eli. Shook his head. No time. He handed her a memory crystal. What's this? She asked. A copy of the transmission. If we don't make it, someone else has to carry the truth. She took it, holding it tight. You plan for everything. He chuckled. I had to. You break everything. Vera smiled. Just a little. Then her eyes turned serious. I will protect this, even if I die. You're not dying today, Eli said. The tower doors blew open. 3 armored hunters stormed in. Eli fired first, taking cover behind a metal beam. Vera moved fast, her cybernetic limbs silent and deadly. She slammed one hunter into the wall, dodged a plasma shot, and launched a blade into another's chest. Eli took a hit to his shoulder. He gritted his teeth but kept shooting. They fought side by side. One heart. One cause. When it was over, smoke filled the tower. Eli dropped to one knee, gripping his shoulder. Vera rushed to him. You're hurt. I've been worse. She pressed a hand against his wound, stopping the bleeding. You saved me, she whispered. He looked at her. And you saved all of us. Above them, the transmission still blinked. Message sent. Confirmed. The truth was out. There was no taking it back, and the galaxy would never see her the same again. Days later, in a hidden medical camp, Vera stood at Eli's bedside. He was stable, healing. News reports flooded the monitors, war leaders resigning, investigations starting, alliances shifting, all because of one human mechanic who refused to walk away. Vera took Eli's hand. "You gave me more than life," she said softly. "You gave me purpose." Eli opened his eyes and smiled weakly. The storm finally passed. The sky over Zivan 3 turned dark and quiet. But deep beneath the ruined surface, in a forgotten satellite tower, two figures worked quickly. Eli adjusted the power cables while Vera uploaded the data shard into the old system core. The tower was broken, rusted, long abandoned, but still strong enough to send one last message into the stars. "This is the only working antenna in this zone," Eli said. "Once we broadcast this, it'll reach every outpost, every pirate channel, every neutral base." Vera looked up from the terminal. "And every hunter." Eli smirked. "Yeah, there's that too." Vera hesitated before pressing the final command. "This data, it will expose my leaders. Your allies may not believe it. They'll believe you," Eli said. "Because the truth always finds someone who'll listen." Vera slowly nodded. Then she pressed send. Outside, the antenna buzzed to life. Lights flickered across the rusted tower. Far above, satellites blinked, picking up the transmission. The message spread like wildfire across dozens of systems. The gear. Footage of experiments on human prisoners. Orders to kill unarmed civilians. Official signatures of high-ranking Varnex warlords. It was all there, and it couldn't be erased. Moments later, alarms screamed through the tower. They were tracked. A dropship was descending fast, armed, loud, and close. Vera looked at Eli. "Run?" Eli shook his head. "No time." He handed her a memory crystal. "What's this?" she asked. "A copy of the transmission. If we don't make it, someone else has to carry the truth." She took it, holding it tight. "You plan for everything." He chuckled. "I had to. You break everything." Vera smiled. Just a little. Then her eyes turned serious. "I will protect this, even if I die." "You're not dying today," Eli said. The tower doors blew open. 3 armored hunters stormed in. Eli fired first, taking cover behind a metal beam. Vera moved fast, her cybernetic limbs silent and deadly. She slammed one hunter into the wall, dodged a plasma shot, and launched a blade into another's chest. Eli took a hit to his shoulder. He gritted his teeth but kept shooting. They fought side by side. One heart, one cause. When it was over, smoke filled the tower. Eli dropped to one knee, gripping his shoulder. Vera rushed to him. "You're hurt." "I've been worse." She pressed a hand against his wound, stopping the bleeding. "You saved me," she whispered. He looked at her. "And you saved all of us." Above them, the transmission still blinked. Message sent, confirmed. The truth was out. There was no taking it back, and the galaxy would never see her the same again. Days later, in a hidden medical camp, Vera stood at Eli's bedside. He was stable, healing. News reports flooded the monitors. War leaders resigning, investigations starting, alliances shifting, all because of one human mechanic who refused to walk away. Vera took Eli's hand. "You gave me more than life," she said softly. "You gave me purpose." Eli opened his eyes and smiled weakly. "You gave me something too." "What?" "A reason to fight again." She leaned closer. "Then let's keep fighting."